And to walk us through the intentions behind U.S. President Donald Trump and what the letter could mean at a time when there are suspicions about North Korea's sincerity and denuclearization, we have with us Dr. Jung Dae-jin, a research fellow at the Ajou Institute of Unification. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it's unprecedented for a president to unveil a personal letter from his counterpart. Along with the letter, President Trump tweeted, "Great progress is being made." It's dated back July 6th, so the note was likely given to the U.S. Secretary of State during his visit last week. Why do you think Trump decided to unveil the letter at this moment in time?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's very unusual to reveal the letter from his counterpart. Yeah. I think the President Trump would like to take the momentum of the dialogue until the end of the upcoming November election. For President Trump, this is the reality show to show for the world audience. But many argues and many criticize the result and the process and progress of the ongoing dialogue between U.S. and North Korea. So President Trump would like to take the momentum to still going on, and then President Trump should strive to keep the momentum of this dialogue. So he would like to pinpoint, and he would like to stress the willingness of his counterpart, Chairman Kim's willingness toward the denuclearization at the point. Yeah.
Now, in the letter, the North Korean leader expresses appreciation for the extraordinary efforts made on President Trump's part for improving bilateral relations between the two and for the faithful implementation of their joint agreement. But there was no direct mention of denuclearization in there. What can we make of Kim Jong-un's intention through the letter in regards to the ongoing talks between the two sides?
That's why U.S. experts strongly criticize the ongoing process of the U.S. and NK dialogue regarding the denuclearization. The one point of U.S. would like to listen from North Korea side. North Korea side is the CVID, denuclearization, but there was no clear and explicit express of the CVID from the North Korea. But we must have a cool eye on denuclearization from now on. Because in the letter, the Chairman Kim mentioned the faithful implementation of the joint agreement. But when he reminded the joint agreement, the third clause is about the denuclearization. The subject of the denuclearization was the DPRK. The DPRK commit to work toward the complete denuclearization. I think this is the first time for North Korea to reveal its name as a subject to the denuclearization issues. And it is the promises to the world audience as a part of the reality show. And then, as President Moon mentioned, this is the promise of the two leaders in front of the world audience. So we should have a cool eye and to wait for the progress and how the U.S. and North Korea make the promise in real.
Now, a set of talks were scheduled to take place between North Korea and the U.S. On Thursday regarding the repatriation of American troops killed in the North during the Korean War. Now, however, it was a no-show on Pyongyang's part, and they actually proposed general-level talks to be held on July 15th. What do you make of North Korea's move?
I think there are two possibilities. The one possibility is the technical problem. North Korea may lack of the technicals on forensic, and then at this point, the North Korea should be cautious to send the remains in 100% the genuine remains. In the past, there were some controversial stories that North Korea sent the animal bones, but at this point, North Korea should not make that kinds of mistakes. So I think North Korea may very be cautious about that technical problem. but I think North Korea may not prepared well until now. And the second possibility is North Korea would like to take the initiative with the upcoming U.S. dialogue with the U.S. North Korea apparently wants a U.S. general to appear on the negotiation table, and they would like to heighten and take the initiative dialogue with U.S.
Now, sources say that North Korea made the proposal directly to the UN command through a line that was suspended for 5 years after Pyongyang called off the signing of a ceasefire agreement in 2013. Do you see the restoration of this line to have any significance?
In the past, comparing to the past, is a very much progress from the North Korea side. North Korea in 1990s, North Korea always decried and denounced the function of the UN command, and then they refused the role and presence of the UN command. And in 1994, North Korea sent a letter to the UN Secretary General that to request the confirmation of the status and the eligibility of the UN command. Comparing to the past, this is a very good signal to admit the counterpart as a counterpart, to admit the UNC as a counterpart, and then to use the UNC communication lines is the natural signal, and then it's a very good signal to maintain the dialogue.
Now, upon mounting concerns in regards to North Korea's determination towards denuclearization, South Korean President Moon Jae-in, who is currently in Singapore, said that the North's criticism directed at the U.S. is just a negotiation tactic and that the negotiations are actually going on the right track. What do you think President Moon went on? Why do you think President Moon made such comments? Do you see it as a move to brush off such concerns?
Until now, there are many good reputations that President Moon has performed as a good mediator and good facilitator to make the dialogues in real. And then, so I think the President Moon also would like to take the momentum of the dialogue. And then, but President Trump would like to the dialogue. The momentum of dialogue for his political purpose for the upcoming November election, but the President Moon is a very desperate for and desirable for the progress of inter-Korean relations and the real denuclearization of the North Korea, because he is the president of the South Korea, and the South Korean is placed on the Korean Peninsula. Yeah, this is our ground. So he has a real genuine willingness to take the dialogue until dialogue to end without any product.
Now, the South Korean president has also emphasized that, unlike in the past, that what North Korea wants is not easing of sanctions or economic compensation, but rather ending hostilities and building trust. But with North Korea and the U.S. seemingly having hit a stumbling block, quite apart on the declaring of the end of war during recent follow-up negotiations, do you think there needs to be a change in the direction of where the negotiation go from here on? President
Moon has a plan to deepen the economic cooperation between inter-Korean economic cooperation. That is another direction into the South Korea can guarantee for the North Korea. U.S. will guarantee its security, and then the path to the global society, and then the South Korea can guarantee and can provide some economic aid to North Korea as a counterpart under the inter-Korean special relations. That's the genuine role of South Korea.
Now, President Moon Jae-in gave a special lecture in Singapore on Friday where he called for sincere efforts on all sides to move the North Korean denuclearization process forward. Now, it's a year on from when he made the Berlin Declaration in which he laid out his roadmap for peace on the Korean peninsula. Now, looking at his speech, what is the president's next vision for denuclearization?
Last year, there was a Berlin Declaration, but this past Singapore lecture did not touch that kind of level of the Berlin Declaration or some political visions. But it is in the continuation of this current political political to deepen the inter-Korean relations and make the North Korea go toward the denuclearization. As President Moon said before, the denuclearization issue is under the hand of the U.S. and NK dialogue. But as a facilitator and as a guarantor of the dialogue, South Korea can take the momentum for the dialogue to keep going on. So his vision of the denuclearization is to take the momentum of the dialogue keep going on and to guarantee the situation and negotiation table is ongoing. Yeah.
Staying with the speech, the president also emphasized the importance of inter-Korean economic cooperation and North Korea's cooperation, economic exchanges with ASEAN member states down the line. Now, his speech comes as there are concerns that North Korea and the U.S. may have hit a stumbling block in the process towards denuclearization. What should we make of these remarks?
We should persuade the Kim to the denuclearization negotiation table, and we should Chairman Kim will feel some safety when he come toward to the negotiation table. North Korea has some very concern about its regional security. As the last June 12 declaration stated, the first agreement was the new establishment, new improvement to U.S. and DPRK relations, and through the U.S. DPRK relations improvement, DPRK would like to guarantee its safety. That's the key of the main goal of the DPRK. So to give and then to have Chairman Kim come to the negotiation table as guaranteeing and securing its security, and to have him on the table, it will be the main key.
Now, you did briefly mention it, but before we let you go, it's been just over a month since the North Korea-U.S. summit in Singapore. Now, President Moon has said that his goal is to be able to declare an end of war by the end of this year, and it's likely that he will step up his role as a mediator. What kind of role should we be expecting?
As I mentioned just before, our role should be beyond the mediator. The South Korea government is stationed on the Korean Peninsula, and South Korean people should live on the Korean Peninsula. Unless we move the other countries, we should live here. Yeah? So we should play a role beyond the mediator. We are the direct contracting part of the new peace and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula. So the South Korean government should be played as beyond the mediator and beyond the facilitator, as a guarantor to the negotiations march toward the denuclearization and then peace and prosperity on the Korean Peninsula, and for the bright future. Yeah. The guarantor and then the direct contracting party of the new treaty and then the new peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. That's the our main goal. Denuclearization at this point overwhelmed all diplomatic issues. But for us, from the South Korean perspective, the denuclearization is the interim goals, not the final goal. The South Koreans' final goal should be the to make the unified Koreans on the peaceful and then on the peaceful Korean peninsula.
Okay, that's where we wrap things up. Thank you for your insights today.
Okay, thank you.